All right, so we've all been there, right? Meeting up for coffee with some friends. I mean, who doesn't love catching up over a good cup of coffee?
Yeah, it's like a universal ritual.
Totally. But I was thinking about this the other day and it hit me. Why does grabbing coffee with friends feel so good?
Hmm, good question.
Right. It's more than just the caffeine, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what we're diving into today, folks. We're going to take a look at this person's regular coffee routine with their friends, and then, well, we found some research that actually backs up why it's so beneficial.
It's pretty fascinating stuff.
Definitely. Get ready for some surprising reasons why those coffee dates might be even better for you than you realized.
It's funny when you think about it, this goes way deeper than just enjoying the taste of coffee.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's this unique combination of the social connection and the caffeine that sort of work together to create this positive effect.
Yeah, you're totally right. Okay, so let's get into the source material. This person we're looking at today, they get coffee with a group of 4 friends 3 times a week.
3 times a week. Wow.
Yeah, pretty dedicated coffee crew.
Yeah.
They actually call themselves an odd bunch, which got me thinking, what even makes a friend group an odd bunch anyway? What do you think?
3 times a week is definitely above average, that's for sure. Makes me think they must have a super close bond.
Yeah.
That kind of frequency, meeting up that often, it could actually make the benefits we're going to talk about even stronger.
Right. Like, who wants to hang out with people they don't like 3 times a week?
Exactly.
So this person lists several benefits to these regular coffee dates, and the first one is improved mental health. I mean, we all know that hanging out with friends just makes you feel good, right? But is there something more concrete going on here?
Absolutely. It's not just in your head. There's tons of research now that links social connection to lower stress, lower anxiety, and even feeling less lonely.
I knew it.
But it's actually even more complex than that. Get this. Social interaction has a direct impact on our brain chemistry.
Well, really?
Yeah. When we interact with others, our brains release hormones, like dopamine and oxytocin. And those play a huge role in how we experience happiness and well-being.
See, I was going to ask about dopamine, so it's not just like a vague feeling. There's a whole chemical process happening. That's wild.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So the next benefit this person mentions is strengthened relationships.
Mm,
Okay, this one seems obvious, right? Like spending time together helps build relationships. But the source specifically says sharing coffee can deepen those connections. Is there something particular about coffee, or is it just that it's a shared activity?
well, rituals are a big part of it. Think about it, sharing a meal or going to a sports game together.
Yeah?
Those kinds of shared activity, those rituals, they create a sense of connection and belonging. But with coffee, there might be something else going on too.
Oh, what's that?
The caffeine, it could be making us more open, more chatty,
Right.
which leads to, deeper conversations, stronger bonds.
That's really interesting. Okay, the next one on the list surprised me. Increased focus.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so the research we found says that drinking coffee before a group activity can actually improve focus and participation.
Really?
So, like, theoretically, if you had a brainstorming session right after your coffee meetup, you'd have even better ideas.
That's actually what some of the research is showing. It might seem counterintuitive, but it's true. Studies show that caffeine, especially in a social environment, can actually prep our brains for better concentration and better cognitive performance.
Huh, I guess that makes sense. But wouldn't too much caffeine make you jittery and mess up your focus?
You're totally right. There is a sweet spot. Too much caffeine can definitely backfire. It can lead to anxiety and make it harder to concentrate. It's all about finding that balance.
Makes sense. Okay, so the source also mentioned dopamine release,
Hmm.
which, as we learned earlier, is that feel-good chemical.
Right.
But why is it being released during coffee with friends specifically?
Well, dopamine isn't just about feeling good. It's also connected to motivation, reward, and even how we form habits. And get this, novelty triggers dopamine release.
Oh, interesting. So think about it. You go to a new cafe, a different friend joins your coffee group, you even just try a new coffee order.
Right.
Those little changes, they keep things fresh and exciting, right?
Right.
They give us these little bursts of dopamine that make the experience that much more enjoyable.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's like your brain is giving you a little reward for stepping outside your routine.
Exactly.
Okay, this is the last benefit on the list, and I gotta be honest, I'm a little skeptical about this one. Increased processing.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Are you telling me that all the noise and distractions of a busy cafe can actually help us think better?
It does sound a little strange, right?
Yeah.
But as odd as it sounds, there's actually a lot of research that suggests that moderate levels of background noise can actually boost our cognitive functions. especially when it comes to things like creativity and problem solving.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it seems like when we're in a stimulating environment, our senses are on high alert, and that kind of heightened state can actually sharpen our focus. So my brain is working overtime to tune out the noise,
Hmm.
and somehow that makes me more creative.
It is a little counterintuitive, but the research is there. Now, of course, like with anything, there's a limit.
Yeah.
If the environment gets too chaotic, it'll have the opposite effect.
Right, if the barista starts screaming orders at me, it's probably not going to help my brainstorming session.
Probably not.
So before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on one last thing the source mentioned, nurturing those friendships even further, like sending thank you notes, sharing updates, offering to help each other out.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Seems like a lot of effort for just coffee, right?
I don't think so. Those little acts of kindness go a long way. They really do.
Yeah.
They strengthen your bonds with your friends, and it shows them that you value their company. It's like adding a cherry on top of an already delicious experience.
So it really is more than just the caffeine, huh?
Absolutely.
It's the social connection, the boost to our brain chemistry, even the potential for sharper focus. It's all kind of brewed into one cup.
Exactly. Don't underestimate the power of those coffee dates. They might be doing more for you than you realize.
Wow, I am definitely going to be thinking about all this next time I'm sipping my latte. And here's one last thing for everyone listening to think about.
Okay.
The source mentioned sending thank you notes after coffee. How could you apply that to other social rituals in your life?
Hmm.
How could you use those small gestures to strengthen your own connections?
That's a great question to consider.
Food for thought, folks.